Hello, and thank you for joining me. I'm Casey, and today I'm going to share with you a very short but very meaningful breath practice. Um, the breath is one of the quickest um, and probably most effective ways that we can tap into our mind and our body and bring ourselves to a more relaxed state. And with everything that's going on, you, if you're like me, may find yourself feeling moments of extreme stress and perhaps anxiety throughout your day. And naturally, your body will want to address that feeling through the breath. You may notice yourself catch your breath very suddenly, or you may also find that you've been breathing very shallowly, very short breaths, and all of a sudden you feel your body go and take a big inhale and exhale. And that's the body's natural way of addressing the inequality it may feel between what the breath's natural process is and feelings of anxiety or stress that may be happening to us from the outside. And so what I want to offer today is a very simple way to breathe. It also allows us to keep the mind from wandering away so that we can really hone in and reduce our levels of stress and anxiety. And I find this is especially helpful during this time when everything seems a little different. Our new normal is being away from people and being stuck in our homes. And so as our bodies and our minds are adjusting to all of that change, one thing that can be consistent for us is the breath. So to begin, I just want to walk through the basics of yogic breathing, or breathing in the yoga tradition. And this is probably the most fundamental type of breath that we do in yoga. It's called Ujjayi. Ujjayi literally means victorious, and I think that's so important because stress and anxiety can often feel like a loss or feel like we are failing somehow. And this breath reminds us that we're victorious, we are strong and steady because we can choose and we can work towards having the feelings that we want as opposed to the ones that may be happening to us. So we're going to look at Ujjayi. This breath is also sometimes called the ocean breath. It has a lot of sound quality to it, like when you put a conch shell up to your ear and hear the sound of the ocean waves. It's an even breath, meaning that the length of the inhale and the strength of it and the length and strength of the exhale are equal. And so we'll breathe in for the same duration and density as we breathe back out. One other quality of Ujjayi breath, Ujjayi pranayama, is to gently constrict the back of the throat. You can imagine like you were walking up to a mirror or a window and you were going to fog it so that you could write in the fog on the mirror, and you would make that sound. That constriction of the back of the throat is what creates the quality, the very soothing and healing quality of Ujjayi. But we're going to do that with the mouth closed, breathing in and out through the nose. So you may want to practice a couple of times, just doing the fogging breath with the mouth open, and then close the mouth and continue that practice, but through the nose. So let's do that together. Just take a moment, hold your hand up, you can feel the warmth of your breath. Inhale, and then exhale. Do one more like that. Inhale, exhale. Now we're going to do that exact same thing, but just keep the lips together this time. So inhale and exhale. And that is Ujjayi pranayama. Pranayama, which we translate as breath work or breath practice, literally means to control the energy of the body, the energy of life, and that is the breath, the thing that keeps us alive, is the inhale and the exhale. If we're not breathing, obviously, we're no longer living, and so when we work to control that life force, that is pranayama or breath practice. So we're going to just take a few moments and just breathe in Ujjayi, and then I'm going to offer one step further to turn this breath practice into a little more of a conscious meditation. So just breathe with me, find a comfortable seat. If you're standing and that feels good, then ground your feet and stand. But maybe find a seat in a chair that you can sit up straight and tall in. If you are able to get outside, maybe do that, or sit or stand near a window to let some sunshine in. Hopefully you're able to do that. But let's take a few moments and take 3 deep Ujjayi breaths together. I'm not sure if you're able to hear the sound of my breath coming through the microphone, but the wind is certainly moving around me, and perhaps you're hearing the sound of the wind coming across the microphone, and that sound is also what the breath sounds like. Whenever we hear the rushing of ocean waves in and out, the movement of wind around us, you hear it come and go, we can sync our breath up with those sounds, and we're joining in the breathing of all of creation. So let's take this practice one step further and turn this into just a meditation. So the way that I want to offer for you to do that is by counting your breaths. And this is going to give us something for our mind to do so that we don't continue to worry about a grocery list or whatever thing may be distracting us and causing us stress in the moment. We're going to give the mind something else to do so that we can focus on the breath and continue to breathe until our anxiety has lowered, until our heart rate has come down, until we're feeling more of a sense of peace. The way I like to count breaths is using a finger meditation, and in just a moment I'll come to the other side of the camera and show you how I do the finger meditation. But the counting is not about some special number. The counting is, again, just an activity for the body and the brain to do while we breathe, so that we bring body, mind, and spirit together into the sensations and the feelings we want rather than the ones we're having. So there is no special number. However, if you are looking for a little bit of a longer practice, you can certainly count up very high. In the yogic tradition, the number 108 is a very special number, and so that's a number certainly that you could count towards. But even just 3 breaths, 12 breaths, 20 breaths, any number that feels right for you and achieves the state of relaxation that you need is absolutely helpful. So again, I'm going to come to the other side of the camera and show you the finger practice, and then we'll breathe together, and you can enjoy this beautiful view of the little bridge and creek behind me as we spend a few moments in breath meditation together. Okay, so this breath, again, is Ujjayi, and we're going to continue to do that, but we're going to count our breaths, and I like to use my hand as the means for counting. Some people use strands of beads or ropes tied in knots to move along and use that for counting, but if you don't always have that with you, what you do always have is your hand, and so I'm going to offer the hand meditation for you for counting your breaths. And so the way that works, you can see my hand here. I use the spaces between my knuckles on my fingers to represent a single breath. So that means that in all, there are 12 spaces for counting 12 breaths. And the way that I move is I begin with my thumb on the base of my index finger, and that is breath number 1. And then I move in a spiral up to the tip of the index finger, across the tops of the fingers, down the pinky finger, across the base of the fingers, into the middle of my middle finger, and ending in the middle of my ring finger. And that will be 12 breaths. Again, you can just do 12. You can continue to repeat the 12. If you want to go back in the other direction, you can certainly do that as well. And if you are trying to count larger numbers of breaths and you want to keep up with them, then you can also bring in your other hand, and every cycle of 12 that you complete, you can count 1. And then another cycle of 12 and count 2. And again, this is going to give you something to do with your mind as you continue to breathe and work towards that state of relaxation. So let's take just a few moments and practice that breath together. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the nose, hearing the sound quality of your breath and feeling as it warms the back of the throat. Notice if you find yourself rushing into the breath, trying to move more quickly. Bring it back to that steady, even inhale and exhale. At this point, if you want to pause the video and continue to breathe, you can. But when you're ready, come back to your comfortable seat or your standing posture. I hope that you have enjoyed this breath practice, and I hope that it's something that you will continue to use, especially in a moment where you may feel a lot of anxiety come upon you. You can hold your hand right up in front of you and begin to count and practice your breath, focusing on the visual of your hand, the sound of your breath, and the stillness of your body. And I hope that offers you an immediate sense of peace and relaxation and release from that stress. The beauty of counting the breaths is that you can figure out over time about how long it takes to do 12 breaths. And then if you know that you have 15 minutes, let's say that you want to meditate, you can pretty quickly know that I'll do 24 breaths, I'll do 36 breaths, whatever number seems about right for the time that you have. And that will give you some way to also serve as a timer so that you don't feel like you're having to think about the time that you're spending. You can simply let go and practice and then come back to a day from that. I really appreciate you joining me today for this simple breath practice, but one that's really effective and meaningful for me, and I hope that it will be for you as well. Keep an eye out. I'm going to be offering some additional practices coming up soon, so stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, continue to practice, continue to be well and take care of yourselves, and I so appreciate you joining me today. We'll close together by bringing our hands at the heart. This is a gesture of gratitude called Anjali Mudra, and it's another very quick and simple way to bring yourself to a centered place. So bring your hands together here at your heart. Maybe gently bow your head and close your eyes. Just taking in a deep breath and an exhale of gratitude for this time that you've given yourself to do something just for you. As the wind carries our prayers for earth and all life, may respect and love light our way. May our hearts be filled with compassion for others and for ourselves. peace increase on earth, and may it begin with me. Namaste.